Imagine you have a great idea, an idea that you think will save the world. You work day and night to build a machine that will help people. But then, something terrible happens. Your invention doesn't save people, it starts a war. It makes thousands of people suffer. This is the tragic and scary story of Eli Whitney. He was a man who wanted to be a hero, but his invention became one of the most dangerous tools in history. Today, we're going to look at how one simple wooden box changed the map of the world and led to a disaster that nobody saw coming. Let's go back to the year 1793. America was a brand new country. It was beautiful, but it was struggling. Most people were farmers. In the South, the biggest crop was cotton. Everyone in the world wanted cotton to make clothes. But there was a big problem. This cotton had tiny, sticky green seeds inside it. To make clothes, you had to pull those seeds out by hand. This was the hardest job in the world. A person could spend an entire day, 10 or 12 hours, just to clean 1 single pound of cotton. Because it took so much time, cotton was very expensive, and farmers weren't making much money. Enter Eli Whitney. Eli was a young man from the north. He was a tinkerer. A tinkerer is someone who loves to fix things and see how they work. He had just graduated from college and was looking for a job. He traveled to a large farm called a plantation in Georgia. While he was there, he heard the farmers complaining. They kept saying, "If only we had a machine to clean this cotton, we would all be billionaires." Eli listened. He didn't know much about cotton, but he knew how to build things. He shut himself in a room and started to think. He watched how people cleaned the cotton by hand. It was like trying to pull hair out of a sticky lollipop. He thought, what if I could make a machine that acts like a hand with iron fingers? He took a wooden drum and covered it with small wire teeth. Then he added a screen. When you turned a handle, the wire teeth would grab the cotton and pull it through the screen. But the holes in the screen were too small for the seeds to pass through. The seeds just fell into a box, and the clean cotton came out the other side. He called it the cotton gin. Gin was just short for engine. It was a miracle. With this small wooden box, one person could clean 50 pounds of cotton in a single day. Before the machine, it took 50 days to do that much work. Eli Whitney was excited. He thought he was going to be the richest man in America. He thought he had solved a huge problem. But he didn't realize that he had just opened a Pandora's box. In stories, Pandora's box is something that looks good on the outside, but holds all the troubles of the world inside. Eli thought his machine would make life easier for everyone. He even thought it might help end slavery. He thought, if a machine can do the work of 50 people, then farmers won't need to use slaves anymore, right? He was wrong. Very, very wrong. In the world of business, when something becomes easy to make, people don't stop. They want to make more. The farmers saw the cotton gin and didn't think about resting. They thought about power. They thought about owning the entire world's cotton market. And to do that, they needed more land and more people to pick the cotton in the fields. Eli Whitney's helpful machine was about to turn into a nightmare for millions. Eli Whitney had a plan to get rich, but he made a huge mistake. He didn't want to sell his machines. Instead, he wanted to keep all the machines and charge the farmers a lot of money to use them. He told the farmers, "I will clean your cotton, but I get to keep 40% of all the profit." The farmers were furious. They thought Eli was being too greedy. They said, "This machine is just wood and wire. We can build our own." Suddenly, Eli's secret was out. Farmers started breaking into his workshop to see how the machine worked. They started building their own fake cotton gins. Eli Whitney tried to sue them in court. He said, "You are stealing my idea. I have a patent." A patent is a legal paper that says an idea belongs to you. But the courts in the South were filled with friends of the farmers. They didn't care about Eli's patent. For years, Eli spent all his money on lawyers and court cases. He was winning the battles, but he was losing the war. While he was fighting in court, thousands of stolen cotton gins were popping up all over the country. While Eli was getting poor, the South was getting incredibly rich. Before the cotton gin, the South only produced about 1.5 million pounds of cotton. 10 years later, they were producing 35 million pounds. Cotton became the white gold of America. It was the most important thing in the world. England wanted it. France wanted it. Everyone wanted American cotton. But there was a dark price for this gold. Because the cotton gin made it so easy to clean the cotton, the farmers wanted to plant as much as possible. But the machine couldn't pick the cotton from the plants. Humans still had to do that. This meant the farmers needed more workers than ever before. Instead of slavery going away like Eli hoped, it grew like a monster. The number of enslaved people in America doubled. Families were broken apart. People were treated like machines just to keep up with the wooden box Eli had built. Eli Whitney watched as his invention became the heartbeat of a cruel system. He didn't get the money he deserved, and he didn't get the fame he wanted. He felt cheated. The farmers had stolen his dream and used it to build a world of pain. This is a lesson we see even today. Sometimes a person creates something simple, like a social media app or a new way to share information, thinking it will bring people together. But then, greedy people use it to spread lies or hurt others. The inventor loses control of their own child. By the year 1800, Eli was tired of the cotton gin. He was tired of the courts. He decided to leave the South and go back to the North. He had learned a hard lesson. Being first isn't enough. You have to be able to protect your idea. But Eli wasn't done yet. He had another idea. An idea that would change how every single thing in your house is made today. He realized that if he couldn't make money from cotton, he would make money from war. He went to the United States government and told them he could build 10,000 guns in just 2 years. At that time, that sounded impossible. But Eli had a secret weapon: interchangeable parts. Before Eli Whitney, if your gun broke, you had to take it to a special worker called a blacksmith. Every gun was made by hand, so every gun was a little bit different. If one screw fell out, a screw from another gun wouldn't fit. It was like trying to put a Lego piece into a wooden block. It just didn't work. This made guns very expensive and hard to fix. Eli Whitney said, "What if every screw, every trigger, and every barrel was exactly the same?" This was the birth of mass production. Eli built machines that could cut metal into the exact same shapes every single time. This meant that if a soldier's gun broke on the battlefield, he could just grab a part from another broken gun and fix it in seconds. This was a revolution. It was the beginning of the assembly line. Long before Henry Ford made cars, Eli Whitney was making guns using this system. The government loved it. They gave Eli a lot of money. Finally, he was becoming the rich and powerful man he always wanted to be. But look at the big picture. In the South, his first invention, the cotton gin, had made the farmers rich and powerful. In the North, his second idea, mass production, was making the factories and the armies strong. Eli Whitney died in 1825. He was a wealthy man, but he left behind a country that was split in two. The South was addicted to cotton and slavery because of his first machine. The North was becoming a powerhouse of factories and weapons because of his second idea. These two sides were growing further and further apart. The cotton gin had made the South so rich that they felt they didn't need the North. They felt they were their own empire. But the North had the guns and the factories. In 1861, just 36 years after Eli died, the United States broke in half. The Civil War started. It was the bloodiest war in American history. And if you look closely, you can see Eli Whitney's ghost everywhere. The war was fought because of the slavery system that the cotton gin had expanded. And the war was won by the North because they had the factories and interchangeable parts that Eli had championed. One man's brain had provided the reason for the war and the tools to win it. Eli Whitney wanted to be remembered as a great inventor who helped the world. But his story is a warning. It shows us that technology is never just good or bad. It depends on whose hands it falls into. The cotton gin was a brilliant piece of engineering, but in the hands of greedy men, it became a tool of slavery. The assembly line was a brilliant way to make things, but it was first used to make thousands of weapons for killing. As we look at the world today, with new inventions like AI and robots, we have to ask the same questions Eli Whitney should have asked. Who will this help? Who will this hurt? And can I control what I have created? Eli couldn't control the cotton gin. Once the secret was out, the world changed forever. He thought he was building a box to clean cotton, but he was actually building a timer for a bomb that would explode years later. So, when you think of Eli Whitney, don't just think of a man who made a machine. Think of a man who accidentally predicted a war. Think of the man who showed us that progress always has a price. America became a superpower because of these inventions, but it had to pay for that power with blood and fire. The invention of evil wasn't the machine itself. It was the greed that the machine woke up in the hearts of men. And that is a secret that $100 billion can never hide.